The Taurus Corporation controls most of the world, and they've destroyed quite a bit of it too. There's no Australia anymore. And you can't go outside without masks. The air isn't safe. And the only credible resistance to Taurus is some sort of international resistance movement called Bloc. Bloc is run by the Pope, and the Pope reads Nietzsche. If you think that's strange, don't. I bet John Paul II and Benedict XVI read Nietzsche. Anyway, into this world, our protagonist wakes up one day in a house with some armed men, his antagonists. With him is Hannah, his old love interest. The antagonist wants something from him. He tries to escape. He dies. He wakes up. Same time, same place as before. Again, he dies. This repeats again and again and again. They want some information from him. He resists. He tries to fight back. He tries to defeat them. He tries to recruit Hannah. He finds out Hannah's working with Bloc. He doesn't think he can trust her. Blah, blah, blah. It's very complicated again and again and again and again. He dies. Trying to get the day right. Sort of Groundhog Day scenario. Now, as he's going about some of his early efforts at figuring out what's going on, trying to get the day right, he hears a broadcast from the Pope. The Pope quotes from Nietzsche. The Pope says, "Hear the wise words of a madman." And then the Pope quotes this passage where Nietzsche suggests the doctrine of the eternal recurrence of the same. And in this text from Thus Spake Zarathustra, Nietzsche suggests, what if you were told that everything that has happened before will happen again, and again, and again, and so on into infinity. Everything you have experienced, you will experience again. And Nietzsche says, you should embrace this idea. You should be happy about it. And if you are not happy about it, then you do not know how to appreciate life, and you need to learn how to appreciate and how to affirm life. Now, I don't think Nietzsche is actually saying that this is how things work. He's not giving us a cyclical view of the universe. The doctrine of the eternal recurrence of the same is probably not a literal doctrine. I think rather it's a sort of parable. He's saying, if this were true, you should love life, you should be an affirmer of life to such an extent that you could embrace this idea, you could be happy if it were true. You could be happy to be told that it were true. And if you're not happy, then you don't appreciate life like you should. Now, the Pope quotes Nietzsche making some similar advice about how you should care about this world. And our protagonist initially does not. He only cares about himself, or maybe about Hannah. And he wants to run. He doesn't want to fight Taurus. I haven't explained what's going on yet, have I? He was an engineer for Taurus. He developed for them a machine that was supposed to be a perpetual motion device. The machine is called ARQ, ARQ, and that is also the title of the film. This machine apparently is also a time machine, if you do the right thing to it. And it resets time for a certain amount of hours, allowing you to repeat these hours again and again, until hopefully you can get them right and switch off the machine. As Hannah explains, this would be very useful to Bloc. They could win some victories with this thing. They could help to maybe have a shot at saving the world. Now, we don't know if they succeed in this. We don't know if they succeed. We don't know if Hannah and the protagonist will get this day right. We don't know if they'll be able to properly switch off the machine, having won the day, and get the machine to Bloc so that Bloc can use it to resist Taurus. We don't know that. But we do know that a victory is achieved. It's a moral victory. Our protagonist is eventually converted to this goal. He is eventually persuaded to care about this world and to fight for it. He embraces the perpetual recurrence of the same day, therefore taking Nietzsche's literal advice. But also, more importantly, taking Nietzsche's figurative advice to care about this world. Also the advice of the Pope, the literal advice of Nietzsche, the literal advice of the Pope to care about this world, to embrace it. And so he does, and he tries to get it right. The use of Nietzsche's perpetual recurrence, eternal recurrence of the same notion, in a film with a Groundhog Day scenario is beautiful. And it's a sort of dark film, but I think it's a good film, and it's a film with hope. And the film is available on Netflix, and the film is called ARQ.